Hey guys from the Lincoln Memorial.
Hey guys from the White House.
One if by land, two if by sea. Hey guys from Liberty Island.
Welcome back to Seal of Social Studies.
Hey guys, what's up? And welcome back to Seal of Social Studies. Today we're going to be talking about North Carolina conflicts that arose during the Revolutionary War or just prior to the Revolutionary War. So, toward the middle of the 1700s, many settlers traveled into North and South Carolina by the Great Wagon Trail because land acquisitions into the New England colonies and along the coast were becoming very scarce. Even though a large number of immigrants were moving into the central Piedmont and western mountain region of North Carolina, the capital was placed far east in New Bern. Resentment built among the colonists in the West because when the vote occurred on where to move the capital, only colonial assemblymen who were primarily located in the East could vote. As a result of all the power being located in the East, Western counties were controlled by corrupt local officials. These were men who collected taxes, registered land deeds, sold land at auctions, and even were sheriffs. Western North Carolinian immigrants were mostly farmers who rarely kept money in their houses. Most transactions in that area were done by a barter or trade system. The corrupt officials in the West took advantage of their positions by overcharging and stealing money from the poor. The officials would sometimes go as far as to attempt to collect taxes from the farmers. When the farmer would retrieve the money, the tax collector would be gone. When the farmer would finally reach Hillsborough to pay his taxes and fees, his farmland and animals will already be sold to one of the tax collector's friends for half the price of the land value. The farmer and settlers were furious about the excessive taxes and fees that were supposedly coming from the capital in New Bern. Governor Tryon, who was the royal governor of North Carolina from 1764 to 1771, was aware of this injustice but decided to do nothing. Blame was being put on the settlers not paying their taxes rather than the corrupt tax collectors. To make matters worse, while farmers and settlers were struggling to pay their taxes and keep their farmland, Governor Tryon was building a new palace for himself with the tax money that was being collected. Upset Western farmers formed a group called the Regulators in order to regulate the corrupt officials. The actions against Western North Carolina settlers led to the Regulator Movement. This is one of the first open rebellions against the British in the 13 colonies. Herman Husband was chosen as their leader, and the Regulators refused to pay the taxes levied by the government in New Bern. Resistance was organized at first through protests and ended in violence. In 1764, regulators in Orange County, which was located in central North Carolina, were furious that their voices were not being heard and began to protest violently and began to threaten the appointed officials, including sheriffs, tax collectors, and judges. These protests are a part of the Regulator Movement, which continued until 1770 when an angry regulator mob attacked the house of Edmund Fanning, a corrupt official who held multiple county offices. The regulators attacked Fanning and dragged him down the stairs, banging his head on every step. Other officials were attacked and their possessions were destroyed. In September, a mob stormed into the Hillsborough courthouse and brutally beat attorneys, then rioted through the streets. As a result of the regulator attacks, Johnson's Riot Act of 1771 was passed in an attempt to control and punish the regulators. The Riot Act gave Governor Tryon the right to use the militia to stop the regulator attacks. In May of 1771, Governor Tryon dispatched nearly 1,500 militiamen to Hillsborough to confront the armed regulators. Governor Tryon told the regulators to lay down their arms and surrender, then peace talks could begin. The furious regulators gave no response to Tryon's request. The governor responded that if the regulators did not disband, the militia would be ordered to fire upon them. Shots were fired between the militia and the regulators in a 2-hour battle called the Battle of Alamance. And the Battle of Alamance was the first armed rebellion in North Carolina between the colonists and the British government. The militia had 70 casualties, while the regulator number is still unknown. 14 regulators were captured and tried in court, where 6 of them were charged with treason and sentenced to hang, while the other ones were pardoned by King George III. Governor Tryon issued an order to issue a pardon or forgive the crimes of any regulator who surrendered and swore an oath of allegiance to the monarchy. In all, nearly 6,500 regulators complied with the order, and the regulator movement would finally effectively come to an end with the start of the American Revolution. So you can see North Carolina was a first in a lot of things, including fighting the British government. See you next time on Sealy Social Studies.